So I think people forgot how to be alone, not lonely. Those are different. I mean alone, right? Which sounds like an old man complaint. I know, I'm aware. I sound like I'm about to start yelling about smartphones and tell everybody to get off my lawn. I don't know. I don't even have a lawn, right? I don't even have a car. I'm in San Francisco. We walking out here, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that I don't think people do things anymore, right? I think people prepare things. I think people manage things. I think people position things, but actually doing things, I don't know. Like I really don't know, right? That one feels a little shaky, right? Because every time I open my phone, it feels like everybody is living with a camera, right? With a whole crew in their whole head, right? Not an actual camera though. That would almost be less weird. Like people are constantly asking themselves, how does this look? Not, do I like this? Which is a completely different question, in my opinion. And that's where it gets weird because I don't think it started as lying. You know, people always jump straight to fake, right? Oh, everybody's fake. He's fake, she's fake, right? No, right? I think that's kind of weird, right? I don't even think that's the problem. I think the problem is people are so good at managing perception that eventually perception became the experience, right? Like if you do something long enough, your brain stops separating the performance from the person performing it. You know what I mean? Right? Like I saw somebody online talking about wanting a soft life, right? Which, mind you, sounds amazing. Like who doesn't want a soft life? The sound that sounds fantastic, right? You telling me I can wake up at 9:30, drink coffee, water my plants, read a book, read a novel, the Count of Monte Cristo or something like that. Nobody emailing me, nobody calling me, no emergency meetings, no random crisis. Sign me up, right? But then I kept looking at the content, and the content wasn't about peace. It was about looking peaceful. Those are different things, right? The room looked calm. The person didn't. That's the part people miss, right? You can tell because the video got 14 cuts in 20 seconds. The person checked the framing 6 times. The coffee got rearranged 3 times, right? The blanket got adjusted. The candle got moved. My brother, sister, right? You're directing a whole movie. Like what happened to the soft life, right? Now it's starting to sound a little stressful, a little too much managing, right? And that's not even me making fun of it. I do the same thing with some of my setups, right? That's the nasty part, you know? Everybody thinks they're observing the problem, but no, we're all in it. We're all in it together, right? Like even making content is weird when you think about it for too long. Like I'm literally just sitting down in my bathroom, just talking to a camera. Then strangers probably watch it while eating dinner or will soon. I only got like 20 views now, but that's already not normal in the sense of just history, right? And we just agreed that this is just normal, right? Like we just having a conversation between each other, right? And I think that's why identity online got strange because people used to have reputations, now they have brands, those aren't the same thing, right? A reputation is what people think of you. A brand is what you're trying to get them to think, right? And once you start managing the full time or that full time, right? What happens? Like genuinely, right? What happens? Because now every feeling has marketing attached to it. I noticed this with vulnerability. People don't even have breakdowns normally anymore, which sounds insane, but hear me out. There used to be a difference between telling somebody something and publishing something, right? Those were different categories. Now somebody gets their heart broken at 2 p.m. By 4 p.m., there's a carousel post, right? By 6 p.m., there's a black and white picture. By 8 p.m., there's a caption about growth, right? And by the next morning, we're all supposed to applaud the healing journey, all right? And like, brother, the wound still has the receipt attached to it, right? It still has the tag. Like, what journey are we talking about? You just got here, right? You just starting, right? And before somebody says people process differently, sure, some people, go to sit home, for days just watching their favorite show. Some people just go on stage like Erica Kirk and just perform like she's in the WWE or something, right? Like, of course, people grieve differently. Of course they do, right? I'm not saying people shouldn't share things. I'm saying I don't know if some people are sharing, I don't know if they're sharing. I think they're packaging, I think that's kind of different. They're packaging. Now you can be vulnerable in a way that still protects your image. The whole point of vulnerability used to be risk. Now it's optimized, now it's edited. Now it's aesthetically color graded. Now the crypto photo somehow has perfect lighting. How? Who adjusted this exposure? And actually, that reminds me of healing. The internet turned healing into a personality, right? That's where I really started getting suspicious. Like, because healing used to mean recovering from something. Now it's an aesthetic category, right? Now people are healing forever. For 10 years, still healing. 15 years, still healing. At some point, you're not healing. You are decorating. And I know that sounds a little harsh, right? But come on now. You know the videos I'm talking about. Everybody speaking softly. Everybody drinking tea. Everybody setting boundaries. Everybody protecting their peace. Nobody actually looks peaceful, right? Which is unfortunate because peace is probably one of the hardest things to perform. You can't fake. You can fake confidence actually. You can fake intelligence. You can fake nonchalance, right? People do that all the time. Fake nonchalance might be the funniest one, actually. Right? Nothing makes me laugh harder than somebody desperately trying to appear bothered, right? Especially online. And they'll they'll make 14 posts explaining how little they care. Like, brother, come on now. Or we're on to you. Like you care. People who don't care are unavailable for comments, right? That's literally how not caring works. The amount of effort people put into appearing effortless. Why can't I talk? The amount of effort people put into appearing effortless is unbelievable, right? And it's everywhere. Dating is like that now. People can't text normally. Everybody's trying to seem detached. Everybody trying to seem mysterious. Everybody waiting 4 hours to respond. Like, brother, text back. You're sitting on your couch staring at the message. I know it. We all know, right? Your phone lit up 3 seconds after I sent it. What are you doing? And then the other person is doing the exact same thing, right? Now, two people who like each other are just role playing indifference. That's tough. We in a tough economy, right? That's genuinely tough because nobody wants to look eager, right? Which is crazy. Like imagine liking somebody and being afraid to look like you actually like them, right? That's a strange, we live in a strange civilization, right? And then there's masculinity, right? Which, man, that's another one, right? I don't even know where to start with there because some people are not becoming masculine. They're becoming content about masculinity, right? That's different. Aesthetic masculinity is fascinating. Every video got the same lighting, same watch. It's all about the drinking coffee in the morning, same quote from some Roman emperor nobody actually reads, right? Same stare into the distance, same gym montage. And look, I work out pretty consistently every morning, right? I like to stay disciplined. I'm not against any of that. I'm just saying some people seem more committed to looking like disciplined men than actually being disciplined men. That's a difference. One requires action and the other requires camera angles. And the scary thing is camera angles are faster. That's the whole problem. The internet rewards symbols before substance. Maybe that's the whole thing. Wait, no. Let me think actually. Maybe that's actually the entire issue, right? The internet rewards symbols before substance. You don't have to be peaceful, you don't have to be deep. You just have to sound deep. You don't have to heal, right? You just have to communicate about healing. You don't have to actually become interesting. You just have to build an identity associated with interesting things. And eventually you stop noticing the difference. And that's what kind of scares me, right? Not the fakeness, but the confusion. Because if you perform something long enough, eventually you believe it too. You start confusing the character with the person. Take social media away for a month and some people genuinely don't know who they are, right? Not because they're weak, not because they're stupid, right? But because identity becomes collaborative. It's being built in real time with an audience. And audiences are weird. They reward consistency, even when consistency is killing you, right? You can outgrow a version of yourself and still feel trapped inside it because that's what people know you for. That's nasty work. I've seen creators talk about that. People subscribe to one version of them, then years later they are completely different. And now they're stuck performing somebody they stopped being a long time ago. And honestly, regular people do the same thing, just on a way smaller scale. Family does it, the friend group does it, relationships do it, right? The internet just made it visible. You ever meet somebody from high school and they still act exactly like the version of themselves everybody expected? It's like watching somebody live inside an old screenshot. Nothing changed. Sure, maybe the visuals changed, the hairstyle changed, the vocabulary maybe changed, but the person didn't. And maybe that's why the internet feels exhausting now, right? Because everybody is broadcasting. Nobody is disappearing. Nobody is allowed to have an unobserved phase anymore. Used to be able to become somebody privately. Now everything is staged. Now every stage is documented, right? Every opinion archived, every mistake saved, every identity version preserved somewhere, which means you're constantly aware of being seen. And I don't know if humans were built for that. Maybe that's what I keep coming back to, right? Not whether people are fake, not whether social media is bad. Those conversations are boring. I think the real question is simpler. If nobody could see it, would you still do it? Would you still dress that way? Would you still buy that? Would you still say that? Would you still care about that goal? Would you still call yourself that thing? And I don't know. Maybe the answer is yes. Maybe it isn't. But I do think more people should sit with that question, not post about it, not turn it into content, not make a reel explaining it, right? You have to sit with it, alone by yourself, because that's starting to feel rare, right? Just a person in a room, no audience, no performance, no personal brand, no proof, just existing. And the weird part is, I don't know if that sounds peaceful anymore. I think for some people, it sounds terrifying. And that might be the whole problem.